I will be sending you guys out something that is a recording, a link to the recording itself. And that will allow you to, let's see, does it say I'm recording? Yes. That will allow you to review this again if you want to. Up there at the top is our Alabama Technology in Motion website. There are lots of great resources there. We did a virtual summit a couple of weeks ago. All of the presentations from the virtual summit, the recordings and the slides are there. We also have done tons of videos and tutorials as people went to remote learning at the end of the year. So you can find all of that there, particularly under the remote learning tab or the PD and webinars tab. We also have a page there on PowerSchool, and you're going to be hearing a lot about PowerSchool and about Schoology over the next month. PowerSchool Professional Learning, or PowerSchool PD, is what you went to register for this session. PowerSchool SIS is going to be the new iNow next year. Because of the pandemic, they bumped that a year. But Schoology is a learning management system owned by PowerSchool that the State Department is going to be training people on over the next month. I've already done half of the training. I finished that this afternoon. And many of your schools will want somebody trained in Schoology, because if you listened to the press conference the other day, the one thing that I learned from it was that the State Department has purchased a remote learning curriculum for students that choose to learn from home. You may not know this secret, but that is going to live in Schoology. So some people in your school will need to understand the ins and outs of Schoology to be able to access that curriculum. Now, don't go running and screaming, because that's probably a state secret. But right now, I'm telling you that Schoology is where that curriculum will live. And so we are going to be scrambling to help support schools and teachers and kind of teach the basics of that platform in case your school is wanting to use that remote learning curriculum. So just FYI, if you hear about Schoology, you heard it here first. And Technology in Motion will be doing a lot of support. I noticed several of you are in my JSU region, so I will definitely be coming out to support you. And then also they're going to be training 2 people from each of your districts to learn Schoology. So I digress. There is a presentation link on this slideshow as well. Let me know in the chat if for some reason you did not get the link to the presentation. I'm going to put that in the chat really quickly. Or if you couldn't access it. I do see a question. Any idea if they'll make us use Schoology? That is the million-dollar question. That is going to be a district decision. But several districts that I've talked to said, no way are we leaving what we've been doing. And in my training so far with Schoology, I will tell you, I think that you could still use Google Classroom and integrate it into Schoology if you so choose. But many schools are not going to jump on the Schoology wagon, like everybody go there, until they've had time to kind of kick the tires with it this first year. So again, that's a district decision. But I think a lot of people have invested a lot of time in Google Classroom. And I will say this doesn't have to be a competition with Google Classroom or the Google tools, and it actually integrates with Google Drive, which is nice. But anyway, that's a whole other workshop and topic. So moving on. So the expectations today that you can access this presentation. You are going to have an opportunity shortly to create an account with Flipgrid. If you do not already have the Flipgrid app, I highly recommend it. It is free. You can get it on your phone, your tablet. You're going to see there's a lot of really neat features in the app that are not on the web, and the other way around as well. But I'm telling you, if you have any mobile devices in your classroom, like 1 or 2 iPads or Kindle tablets or things like that, you may want to load the Flipgrid app on those. So if you don't have the app, now would be a good time to just go to the App Store and download that on your phone to try that out. And shortly when I ask you to respond to a Flipgrid, you can do it in the app, probably easier than you could do it on your computer. There is an assignment. Yes, you have homework. In case you didn't read the notes carefully, this is a 3-hour credit course. I do not want to Zoom with anyone for 3 hours or more. If any of you have been unlucky enough to have to sit through hours and hours of Zoom sessions, this is a struggle for me to engage people for an hour and a half. So what I decided is that it was best if I would do an hour and a half Zoom session and then give you an assignment to do that I would then check, and that would be your other hour and a half worth of credit. You guys have the easiest assignment that I've given at all. Flipgrid is so simple and intuitive. You'll finish this and it won't take you an hour and a half. So anyway, I'll give you that assignment at the end. In order to get your credit, you have to do the assignment and have attended the majority of this meeting and all of that jazz. Fill out the attendance document at the end, don't forget. All right, so Flipgrid is where social learning happens, and you can see how visual and how neat Flipgrid looks here just with this little screenshot there. Their mission is to empower every learner to share their voice and respect the diverse voices of others. And you're going to hear me talk about this later on too, but last night was Flipgrid Live 2020. Typically they do it live and in person. It's a big ordeal. They couldn't do it live last night, so they did it virtually, and they usually live stream the whole event. It was super cool. I've got a link to it if you want to watch it over. But what they do is they talk about everything that has happened this year with Flipgrid and what's coming in the new version of Flipgrid. It's going to be rolling out August 1st. So let me just tell you that everything we talk about, subject to change and look a little different August 1st. But it's a good different. But when they say that they are looking to help students share their voice and respect the diverse voices of others, they have really taken that a step further. And if you watch the Flipgrid Live, you'll see that it is, they really believe in their mission. How does Flipgrid work? Well, here is their new logo that is coming out. And they are a company that is owned by Microsoft. They were a small company for a couple of years, and then Microsoft purchased them and made it free. And I used it before it was free. It was such a powerful tool. When Microsoft purchased them, and they've now integrated so many amazing things from Microsoft, it is a tool that is phenomenal, and Microsoft made it even better. And what you're going to see is some of those touches of Microsoft. And even if you look at their new logo, those are the Microsoft colors. If your school is a Google school or a Microsoft school, Flipgrid plays well with both. So that is one thing I love about it, because so many tools are very Google friendly that this plays well with both. All right, first step in this is creating a grid. Now there are grids and there are topics, and we're going to look at both of those. So step number one is just getting started and setting up your grid. So I'm going to talk about these things. You may not have an opportunity to create your own grid now, but that's something that you will do as part of the assignment for later. So it's a lot of watching today, other than an opportunity for you to create your account if you haven't already, and then for you to respond as a student. So you go to flipgrid.com and you're going to sign up as an educator with Google or with Microsoft. And so you're going to use your school email for these. And you know, your students don't need accounts, but there are a couple of ways that they will sign in, because they are going to have to sign in for safety and security. And so we'll look at those ways, but they don't need their own accounts, but you will. So this is usually the time that I give educators an opportunity to create your account, but I'm not going to ask you to do that right now, just in the interest of time. So I'm going to say, kind of pay attention to what number slide this is. I'm sorry, I'm going to set myself an alarm because if I don't, then I'll be like 10:30 scrambling to finish this. So here we go. So when you go to create your account, go back to this slide if you want to get to flipgrid.com. And then there's a whole playlist of tutorial videos on getting started too. So we are going to take a look at the educator's dashboard. And I'm going to talk about each of the different sections that are in that educator's dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment and put in this presentation link one more time into the chat. And so before we move forward and look at Flipgrid, because I always forget to do this, I do have a poll that I want you guys to take just very quickly. Hopefully I do this right. Yesterday was my first time to use the poll feature. I think it's a really nice feature. I've used Google Forms before, but it requires people to go out of the presentation. And so I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll. And hopefully you can see it. It is only a few questions, just asking kind of what your role is at your school and what your knowledge is on Flipgrid. So take a few minutes. Hopefully you see this poll. And I see some people are already responding, so that's awesome. Just click what describes your role. Have you tried Flipgrid before? Maybe have I created an account and tried it a little bit, or I've used it with my students. So answer these questions and then we'll move on. So we have 21 people, including me, in here right now, and 15 people have answered. So excellent. As people are finishing that up, if you have not already, you can take an opportunity now to put your name and your school in the chat. And like I was telling people earlier, I will do the attendance as quickly as I can. It may take up to 2 weeks because I have attendance and credit that I need to work on for some other sessions because I took a vacation last week. So I'm trying to play catch up with that. And if you didn't get a chance to do this poll, that is okay. I'm going to go ahead and end it. And I'm going to share the results so that you guys can see. It looks like our biggest group today, 3rd through 5th grade teachers. And we have some middle school teachers here too. And then somebody that's an other, I don't know what other might be, but I thought I probably need to put that because we have some people that are retired, not in the school, or serve another role in the school. Never tried Flipgrid before. We are about half and half with that. Some of you have tried an account and maybe kick the tires a little. That's what I always say about new tools. You're kicking the tires, seeing how it works. And then we only have 19%. We only have 3 of you who've created an account and used it with your class. So those 3 people can jump right in if you want to share some of your experience as we're going through and talking about Flipgrid. Feel free to jump in and share some things that you did on Flipgrid. All right, so I am going to share my screen again. And here we go. We are going to be looking at the menu in Flipgrid. So I'm going to hit escape and I'm going to go to my Flipgrid account. So up in the top right corner, you can see my profile information. If I click on that, it can tell you a little bit about me. But across the top, this is your menu. Now, by default, you will land on the My Grids page, and you're going to see any grids that you create there. Within those grids can be multiple topics. So notice under activity, I have 44 topics in this grid with 206 videos logged into that grid. And so you can see some of these, I don't have any videos. Some of them I was just testing out, trying a new grid. You can have unlimited grids and unlimited topics. To the left of my grids is the activity page. This is really powerful to let you see the hours of engagement and shared learning across your grids and your topics. You also can can earn some badges and some achievements. So they have some really neat achievements here. And so it says I'm a Flipgrid certified educator, I'm a grids gardener. So you can kind of view all of these different achievements that you have, and if you click on it, it tells you a little bit more about what is, what each of these are. Okay, I'm going to close that. And next that's under the My Activity page. Any recent videos that have happened are there as well. We talked about my grids. That's where I can see all of my grids. That's where I can add a new grid. The next is called mixtapes, and this is really unique because basically as students respond and make response videos, because that's really what Flipgrid is, it's an opportunity for students to speak and be on video. And when you have some of these kids that give a very powerful response, you can add them to a mixtape. Now, if you're a child of the 80s like I am, you know what a mixtape is. You may have made a mixtape for a boyfriend or have received a mixtape. That's the best of the best. That's the things that you love. And so this is what a mixtape is. So I took some teacher responses and I made a mixtape of some of these responses. And this is just kind of like your highlights that you can share with someone. The next feature up here is called Grid Pals. So think Pen Pals and Grid Pals. And so you can go here and look all over the country, all over the world. There are people who are willing to be your Grid Pal. How cool would it be if you are a teacher in Birmingham, Alabama, to find a Grid Pal in Birmingham, England? And so you can find a Grid Pal on the map. And once you click on there, and I would need to go zoom in more. But if I clicked on one of these, and I know it's like super crazy mess right now. If I click on one of these, I can see the name of the teacher and the grade that teacher is involved with, and their YouTube channel, or however I want to search for them and reach out and ask if they would like for their students to be Grid Pals with my students. So what a powerful way for students to have an even bigger audience is with another class. And so you can get to that under Grid Pals. We're going to talk further about Disco Library, so I'll come back to this, but this is a very powerful place where you can find topics. And then my new favorite part to Flipgrid is called Shorts. Now, I'm really embarrassed at all of my different crazy hairstyles and selfies. But anyway, you can see that this one I made this morning. So Shorts is an easy way for you to create a short video for your students, like an instructional video or an interactive whiteboard video. You can record up to 10 minutes on the My Shorts channel. Just to click on this one. Once you've made one of these short videos, you have a direct link to it. It automatically creates a QR code for it. Notice it says Flipgrid AR, and we're going to talk about that shortly. And then look at all these different ways you can share this video. You can download the video and add the video to anything. You can embed the video And I do know in the Schoology world, there's an embed capability or website you can embed. Microsoft Teams, if you're a Microsoft person, Google Classroom, if you're a Google person, and then Remind. We have so many teachers using Remind. Notice how quickly you can send this video out to your students. It could be a welcome. It could be an instruction video. It could be anything. And so here is Flipgrid Shorts gives you 10 minutes to record a lesson for your students. You have the freedom to hello. You can also move that text around. You can go and add a sticker. And so that sticker can be moved around as well. They have some stickers there, but you can also add custom stickers. There is a drawing tool, which I'm not very good at, but you have the ability to draw. Along with that drawing tool is also a whiteboard or a blackboard tool. So here I could also give my students some instructions and tell them what to do. I can get rid of my whiteboard, move that crazy drawing I just made. And I can add custom stickers. So for example, if I did want to add a custom sticker, I can add that right here. And I can talk about these new Flipgrid updates. And if I want to get rid of it, I can simply hit delete while I'm recording. When I'm done, all I do is hit next, right down at the bottom, that way. All right, you get the point. It is a super fun way to share instruction with your students. And so that is just a little bit about shorts. And I noticed that we have a few more things in the chat. So I'm just going to take just a second. And let's see. When I play a video like that in a Zoom session, sometimes it doesn't work well. So hopefully you are back with us. And there's Teresa said her screen was black. But that was me trying to play a video within the Zoom session, which is kind of a surreal experience. But that was just showing you an example of the Shorts tool, which is very powerful. And actually, that may be my fault because the Chrome browser is what I'm zooming, like I'm sharing, and that video might not have shown for everybody. So I apologize for that. I'm actually going to stop sharing and I'm going to change the way I share, and maybe I will fix it. So I'm just going to share my whole desktop now, and hopefully that won't happen. So those of you that are like, that sounded great, I didn't see a video, just trust me, it's the Shorts feature is really cool. All right, back to the presentation. So this is my colleague Barry's cute little Bitmoji. And so he's talking about creating grids and topics. That is the biggest thing that people don't always understand, is that first you create a grid and then you create topics. A grid is more like the theme or the overarching idea. Some people choose the grid to be like their class name, Miss Caldwell's class. Some people choose the grid to be the name of a unit, and they have multiple topics under that unit. Now, I will tell you, if you look at Flipgrid Live 2020, you will notice that a new feature coming out is standalone topics. So you wouldn't have to create a grid, but right now, as it stands, you create a grid first, and you create topics underneath that grid. That can change August 1st, like I said. Be looking at Flipgrid for updates August 1st. They'll drop all their new stuff and it may look a little different. So be sure you don't like set up a bunch of stuff now and then come back and try to use it with students. And you got to check August 1st and make sure that everything looks like you expect it to look. Topics is what you'll make underneath that grid. And then you have an opportunity to click the Flipgrid link or enter a code. And it will either ask you to log in with your school email or an ID from your teacher. You tap the green plus sign and you start recording. So it is super simple and intuitive. So here's what you'll do to make that grid. So when you are on that grids page, you'll click add a grid. And now you will make your grid. You give it a name. Notice you have a character limit. Now you're going to select your grid type. This is very important depending on what you want your students to do. Now I noticed we had some pre-K to second grade teachers. You guys might want to do student IDs, something that is simpler than your student typing in their email to log in. But for the most part, people are going to have their students join using their Microsoft or Google School email. That doesn't mean they have to make an account. It means when they click on your topic or they put in your grid code, it will ask them for their school email. That's just to verify who they are. It's a security feature, so school email. The other option is you will input a list of students and either assign them an ID or have an ID assigned to them. And then the other option is educator learning community. This is the way I've set up our grid for today because I want you guys to be able to answer on there fairly easily. So that means that I did not dictate a certain school email domain. So if I set it up for school email for my students, I have to tell it, here are the domains that will be used. For example, my students are in St. Clair County. I would put sccboe.org, which is what all the teachers use. I would put students.sccboe.org because that's what students use. So any domain that your school might use, you want to include when you set up this grid with school email. And then you can create a custom flip code. Notice this one that Barry created had ATEM Summit 2020. If it's not taken already, you can create a custom code, which might be easier for your students to remember. If your learners have email addresses, you'll use that school email grid prompt. And here is what I'm talking about. You're going to add everything after the @ symbol.
Excuse me, Brandy.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I cannot see your screen. I've typed it several times, but I cannot see your screen. It says that you're sharing, but I can't see it.
All right, can you see this now when I'm not sharing?
Yes, I see you.
All right, anybody else having that problem? Teresa, are you on a mobile device or are you on a computer?
I'm on a computer.
All right. Yeah, Keisha's saying you might need to change your view. Up in the top right corner, there's like a speaker view or full screen view. You might need to go out of full screen. I don't know if that's the issue. So when I share my screen, and I'm choosing to share desktop this time, which should be everything, I'm gonna also do share computer sound and share. Never mind, it won't let me share the computer sound. So sorry about that. It says I have to install an update. So that's awesome. I'm gonna need to do that. Can you see it now, Teresa?
Unfortunately not. Maybe I'm gonna go out and come all the way back in.
I think that's probably the best bet. I am so sorry about that. Yeah, sometimes we just have quirks like that.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I told you guys do that. So when you are setting up the school email, you will need to put everything after the @ symbol. And on the next slide for the option best suited for students who don't use email. So when you are dealing with younger kids, you might want to choose this option, which is the student ID option. And this is where you will create your student list. So you can either manually put every student in, first name, last name, student ID, or you can do a CSV file, which is like an Excel or Google Sheets. You may be able to pull this from iNow, or you might already have a spreadsheet of all of your student names. And so that's another way for you to quickly add them and edit them one more time before you assign the student ID. If you choose that third option, the educator learning community, this is where visitors can come in with any email address. So it's not dictating just your school domain. It's saying any email address, but they have to verify that they have an email address. And then I have the option to add a password. So I can make this a more public link. So I could actually put a link out on our website asking for parents to record a video response to something. But it would require them to have an email, so it would identify them. And then I could also have a password. And that password could be shared in Remind or something a little more private than, say, your website. And so they have some criteria for the password option. And then your grid is ready. And once you've got your grid, then you are ready to add topics to your grid. Currently, the grid is not something students can respond to until you've added topics. Actually, I think they automatically add a topic called Say Hello on Flipgrid, but you will want to add your own topics after that. So next up is where to find your Flipgrid inspiration, and that's where this disco library comes in. This is one of the coolest features that they have. I stand firm on the fact that teachers love resources within a tool. I think the reason why Kahoot became such a popular tool with teachers is because I didn't have to create one from scratch. I could simply go and search for something on my topic and adapt it and use it. Same thing with tools like Nearpod, anything with a library that allows me to not have to create something from scratch. That's what the Disco library is, pre-made topics to add to your Flipgrid. So lots of ideas and things that you can share. Notice these, just looking at this screenshot, you may recognize some of these tools that you're already using. For example, Epic is something my own children use, particularly during the summer. They used it a lot during the school closure. Epic is a collection of books. Now, I think it is a subscription service, but they did offer some free time for home. And so like my 10-year-old read like 28 books on Epic. Some of them are read aloud. So you have access to all these books on something like Epic. You may notice some other things like code.org, Tinker, Vocabulary. It doesn't mean that these services are free. It means if you're already using them, then some of the resources for these topics are connected to these. And so before we go into adding topics, I do want us to look at the Disco library. So some of their new topics, this one, conversations about race, equity, and justice. They have a ton of topics here that are connected to, and you can see if they are connected to any particular creator. Some of them are created by teachers. And so here is one set for middle school. And so look at this example, equity for all, quote, when looking at many issues, there are many instances of people giving in to ideas about hatred of other people due to religious or racial differences. That's still possible in today's world unless we strive to promote and believe in ideas of equality. Find a quote on equality that speaks to you. Record yourself saying the quote and explain what it means. Now this says middle school, but I think this would also be great for upper elementary. What if you supplied them with a list of quotes and then allowed them to do a little bit of research on that quote and tell what that quote means to them? What a creative idea from the Disco library. So here's what I can do when I find a topic that I like. I can add it to my favorites, like bookmarking it. If I want to add it to a grid, I can click on the grid and add. And simply it opens up the topic and allows me to go in and edit that topic. So maybe if it's for high school, I want them to take a step further and write something that goes with that quote. So you have so many neat opportunities with Disco Library. And when you scroll down, you can see some of their featured playlists. And you scroll down further and notice that it's over 21,000 topics. You can search based on age of your students. So I can say elementary school. The subject is, I'm going to do language arts because I'm an English teacher. Or I can search a particular topic. So I'm going to say poetry because so many students hate poetry. And so here's a ton of ideas on poetry. So here's performing poetry, poetry cafe, books buying poetry. That sounds cool. And so pitch perfect poetry reading. I gotta see what that is. So they talk about, and so I can go in here and go, so we haven't been talking about poetry styles, but I could add some here and have them research them. And then here's an integration notes on this particular one. And look at the person who created it. Their name is clickable. So I could go and search all of the things that they've done because obviously she's an English teacher like I am. So anyway, lots of uses for this cool Disco library. So definitely I hope that you would check out the Disco library so you don't have to create anything from scratch. All right, let's see, just looking at our chat box, you can also try, I think we're still trying to figure out, I don't know if Teresa made it back with us. Did she? Can you see my screen yet? I hope. All right.
I can see your screen now, I'm good.
Yay, woohoo! Thank you to all my friends who helped. All right, so the next thing is adding topics. You just saw how I went into the Disco library and added a topic to a grid. But you can also create your topic from scratch. And you do that under grids. Once you've created your grid, this is an example of one that Barry created. He put a discussion prompt. He put a media resource like a video there. Created that, and then once that topic is ready, you have a QR code that is created, just like you saw, or maybe you didn't see, with that shorts video. You have all these different ways that you can quickly share your topic. One thing that's so important is when you're creating your topic, you're going to want to moderate the videos for your students as they're learning to be responsible. Unfortunately, this feels very social, and many of your students think that they can say whatever they want to people on social media. So we got to teach them they can't just say whatever they want in Flipgrid. So you have some options. One is to moderate the videos, which means you would get a notification that you have a video that you need to approve. You would watch it first. If it's something that a student really struggled with and that might be embarrassing for it to go live, you could say, hey, you want to redo this? You may not want to approve it. You may not want it to go live. You can still view it and grade it, but you may not want it to be active on the grid. Other video features, you can choose whether they can add stickers, selfies, all of these kinds of things, titles, likes. Sometimes students get distracted by how many likes or views their video has. So you might want to take those off until students get accustomed to it. And they have opportunities to respond to each other's videos, but you may want to also cut that off until they're used to, being good digital citizens. All right, the time you've all been waiting for. Before you jump to this, I want to show you a special guest post that we have, and then I'm going to unleash you and give you some time to try out Flipgrid. So hopefully you can see this video. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it though. I've been having issues with my computer sound, so hopefully you can hear it.
I'm Janae Armand, an educator innovation lead on Team Flipgrid, and fun fact, a former Alabama technology and motion specialist. I hope you all have a phenomenal day learning about Flipgrid in ways that you can empower every voice. Flipgrid is simple, authentic, and so much fun. So basically, all you do is create topics for your students to engage in learning. You share those topics with students, and then that's when the magic happens. Check it out.
provide inclusion for my deaf students.
I have a voice. I have a voice. I have a voice.
We designed Flipgrid to be an inclusive opportunity for all students to share their voice.
And we are so proud to build an environment that is accessible, simple, and fun. And I'm so proud to be on our mission to empower every voice.
So once again, have fun in your adventure of learning how to empower every voice. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at hello@flipgrid.com or get connected with me on social media at savvy_educator. All right, bye everyone.
So I have the privilege of calling Jornay a friend. She was actually an Alabama Technology and Motion specialist, and she and I became great friends, and she demonstrated Flipgrid to teachers so much so that the company took notice and invited her to travel to Minnesota and to be on some webinars with them. And then they decided to just hire her because she was rocking it with Flipgrid. Shortly after, Microsoft bought the company, and the rest is history. So anyway, she did that quick video for us to introduce herself. And so what I want you guys to try, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do this, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen shortly. But if you will go to this slide in the presentation, and it is slide number, hold on, so sorry. Slide number 32, if you will go to that slide, you have a couple of options. Either click on this link, and I'm actually going to put this in the chat. If you will go to that link, it will allow you the opportunity to put that information in. It may ask you for a email address because I've got it set, so you will have to put in an email address. Or if you're using the app, you can either scan the QR code or put in the flip code to be able to record your response. So I want you to take a few minutes to try this out. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and give you a chance to do that. So on slide 32, you can also click on the link there, and you're not creating an account for yourself. You're signing in to answer my topic. So I'm gonna quickly take a potty break while you guys do that and play a little bit of music, and I will be back in just a second. Okay, let me know in the chat if you need a couple more minutes or if you'd rather us just move on, because I do want to make sure we get through everything. All right, we do have a few people that have responded, and I do want to take a moment to share my screen. I will not share their video, but I do want to show you what it looks like when you have some responses on a topic. And let's see. All right, hopefully you can see my screen now. So just going back to my educator dashboard, here are my grids, and I'm going to click on this teacher's learning grid, and it's going to show my most recent topics. So I have a couple of ways to view this. One, if I just click on the name of the topic, this is the teacher view for this topic. So you can see that I can see all of my responses here. I can click on them individually and I can grade them. I can add this little star.
Hello, I'm Mary Stella.
Sorry. I can click on this little star and be able to leave a vibe for them. Like, that is on fire. And then I can grade this. I can add comments to it. What is also nice is that each individual video has its own dedicated link. So think about how powerful this is. Let's say that this is a response that is so wonderful that I want to share this response. I could send this and remind to this child's parents and say, what a thoughtful response that she gave on this topic. So I can just copy that. The other is this really cool Flipgrid AR code. Okay, so I want to show you shortly how these codes can be used. So essentially that AR code grabs her video and allows me to use that video in other places. Okay, so I'm going to show you how that works shortly, but then I can share it a lot of other ways. So I think that this is a really neat kind of grading, sharing console. And then I can also reply to her through video. And one of the new features for Flipgrid is text responses to video as well. All right, so I'm going to close that one out. The other way that I can look at this topic is just by, if I hit back, just by clicking view. This is going to show me the student view. So this is my grid at the top, and this code took you guys straight to my topic. And so here are all of the people's videos. Notice I've given a star on this one. So this is one that I highlight or feature. And this is what students would see. So you guys could click on each other's videos and see them. So that's the power of it, is that the teacher is no longer just the audience. All of you become the audience. So students, when they know their peers are watching, become a lot more, their grammar becomes elevated, their opinions, their speaking skills, all those things become elevated because they have an audience bigger than their teacher. Keep in mind though, this grid is not public for anybody to see. This grid is for the people that have signed into it and responded. So I just wanted you to see what that looks like. All right, so you guys did great on trying out Flipgrid. And then here's some options that my colleague Barry found, like read alouds. I love this idea as a read aloud for a student. Now his suggestion, and you can look at the description, is that it involves the parent or a sibling, and they are to use like their phone in the Flipgrid app to do something behind the child's head and see the page that they're reading, so that you can see what as they're reading along. And so this uses the Epic Online Book app as well. And so I do want to show you this immersive reader here. So let me pull up this. So if I click on Immersive Reader, and this is a Microsoft tool, but this is all over Flipgrid. So anywhere where you've given detailed instructions, any student can use Immersive Reader. Watch this.
Let's try out Flipgrid. Introduce yourself to everyone. Tell us your name, your school, what grades/subjects you teach, and a hobby you enjoy.
What? Think about that for your littles. Think about that for your special ed students, your EL students. There are some options here if they want to change that. What about your students with, you can slow down the voice. I can make it a male voice. Students that have auditory issues, that have sight issues. There are so many tools here. This Immersive Reader is built into Flipgrid. That is a super powerful tool that a lot of people don't realize is a part of Flipgrid. So I did want to show you that really quickly. And there we go. So moving on. So here is that topic that he made and all of the information there. Here's another really creative idea, and this is going to be something where you would have to use the app itself. And ChatterPix is a really neat app as well. If you've never tried ChatterPix or ChatterKids, if you have some devices in your class, I don't care what age your kids are, this is super fun. So watch this.
Hi, I am a tapir. I am nocturnal and I am related to the horse. Jaguars, crocodiles, and men hunt me. I can live up to 30 years in the wild. I eat grass, water plants, leaves, and fruit of shrubs. Goodbye.
How cool is that? Now, how would a student do that with Flipgrid? Well, they can upload their own videos. They don't have to just record. Okay, so for example, if I go to this particular topic, and let me look at it as a student, sorry. There we go. And I am going to add a video. It is going to ask me to log in, so let me do that. All right, so it opens up this camera view, but besides just clicking the camera to record, there are these 3 dots. First cool thing, screen recording. I can actually do a screen recording and go out to different websites and point and click and talk. So you can do demonstration videos here, and that's at the 3 dots to the left of the camera. I can add a video clip. So that means I can upload any video. So if I'm in the app, anything I've put on the camera roll from a tool like ChatterKids, I can upload into Flipgrid. If I've got some savvy video editing tools, or if I've got a video on my phone and I have a way to put it in Google Drive, I can upload that video. How cool is that, that students can upload videos that they've created in other places? So I can simply do that, upload a video, or I can record my video without audio if I want to do that. Over here is another upload option. And so 2 different places to upload. A thing I wanted to mention here is show topic. Notice that if I forget what it is I'm supposed to do, I can click show topic. I can even move it around so that it is away from the screen while I'm reading. And so I can click hide topic. Another really nice feature in the Flipgrid camera is these digital sticky notes. So I can say Brandon Caldwell, English teacher, loves Netflix. Here's a sticky note, and look what I can do. I can put it way up here at the top toward my camera so that as I'm reading it, it looks like I'm looking directly in the camera. So I want to show you some of those really unique features. You don't just click and record. You can click and upload or screen record, which is very powerful. You can do that same thing in that shorts camera that I told you about. Up there at the top, we have the opportunity to record shorts. And the shorts camera has those same features, which is really, really neat. Here's an example of where my child did a little project with Little Bits. And he uploaded his video to Flipgrid, and it shows how he did, he coded his name into the Little Bits. So I mentioned short videos. I love them. They're really, really cool. And so you can use that for screencasts or for just greeting your students with a video. This is a new, really, really cool feature. And I'm going to try something unique with this. And I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I'm going to share my iPad, because the way these codes work, and I showed you where the code is they're augmented reality codes, which means when I show you the video that is connected to that code, it is going to be kind of like Pokemon Go, if you've ever seen somebody play that, and it's sort of superimposed on top of what you're doing. I'm just gonna have to show you. That's the only way I can do this. So while I'm doing this, any of my people who've tried Flipgrid, has anyone tried the Flipgrid AR codes while I'm getting ready to share this? All right, so I'm going to try sharing my iPad, which is kind of tricky. All right, maybe, God. For some reason, it is forcing me to share my computer audio. Let's see, let me try screen mirror, and voila, I think I have it. So, fun fact, if you have Zoom, the full version of Zoom installed on your computer, you can share your iPad through Zoom onto your computer. Hopefully all of you are seeing my screen right now. You can see that my screensaver for my iPad is the beach, because that's where I was last week, and it just gave me some peace and serenity. So I'm gonna open the Flipgrid app, and notice I have the scan Flipgrid QR. So this is going to be tricky, because I am going to try and scan that code by opening up my thing. So here we go. Here's what I think you guys are looking at, my iPad screen, I hope. Okay, either that worked amazingly or none of you could see what the heck I was doing. So hopefully you could see that video. Did you see it? No? So no iPad? Darn, that's what I was nervous about. So I'm gonna try one more time and see. So you guys could only see the presentation. Oh, darn it. Okay. So I'm gonna try one other way to make this happen, and then I'm just gonna toss it, because it is challenging enough to try this, but I do want you guys to see this AR. Let's see, I'm gonna try another way. And you guys just hang tight and see if I can get this going. And maybe it will work. We'll try. And if it doesn't work, then you know what we do? We just go with, let's see, 4, 5, 1, 3. And I think maybe I am sharing my screen now. So I'm gonna see if you guys can see my screen with with my Zoom session stuff. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, abracadabra. Maybe. Tell me if you can see the iPad screen now. I'm seeing in the chat. Oh, yes. Okay. So we're going to see if it'll work now. We're going to try. Maybe if I can pull up that code. Oh, and look, now you're getting to see all of my cool messages. All right, here we go. What? There we go. Check it. This is kind of surreal here. Oh my gosh, it's like seeing it in 25 different places. Ah. All right, so not exactly what I wanted you guys to like see, but the whole point I'm trying to make is when you scan this, it superimposes that video on top of whatever you're looking at. So, for example, student certificates. So when I scan this with my iPad.
You have worked so hard this school year to get all A's and B's. Even when things were hard, you really showed grit and determination. I'm so proud of you for all of your hard work this school year, and keep up the good work.
You can hear the teacher. So I can make a video saying congratulations, and that QR code can be on that certificate. So when a student receives this award or the certificate, they can scan the code and their teacher's face like appears on top of the certificate if they use the Flipgrid app. I just think that's super cool. I know I'm nerdy like that. Here's another example. Homework help. What? I hate math. So here's a great example. You can make a screenshot or whiteboard video explaining homework and have that code with their homework. They can scan it and have their teacher talk to them. What? That's awesome. Interactive Bitmoji, this has to be one of my favorites. Your Bitmoji is holding a sign with the code, and they use the Flipgrid app, and they scan it, and they can use mom and dad's phone, whatever. And they don't have to log in. They just scan and the video plays. And this one was so cute. Look at this cutout of the kid holding the Flipgrid AR. And you can scan this with your phone and check out this video yourself. It is her reading her book that she made. I just think these are so, so neat. So I'll stop nerding out right now, but I think the way that people are finding creative uses for Flipgrid has made it so powerful. There's all these ideas here on how you Flipgrid, and then when you click on this integration docs link, here are subject-specific ideas on how you can use Flipgrid. So just going to grades 3 through 5, because we have a lot of teachers in this group that are 3 through 5. Here's reading and writing ideas for using Flipgrid. And links to specific lessons already in the Disco library, including standards. I just think that's really, really phenomenal that they've given you all of these resources. So it is a very social format. That's what students like about it, I think. And if you go to this link at the bottom, here's an educator's guide to Flipgrid. Here's some cute little cartoons of 3 ladies that are the innovation leaders at Flipgrid. And all of it is 100% free. And I love this quote. I have a girl who didn't say a word for the first 3 months of school. I introduced Flipgrid. She started talking through that tool, and now she actually raises her hand in class. When they say they empower student voice, it really is a tool that allows that to happen, because I think we'll all agree that this pandemic and closing down of schools, for a lot of students, their mental health is not great because they have been isolated from their friends. So Flipgrid is a great tool for them to be able to talk to one another and talk to you as a teacher. They have had tons of videos that have been shared during this time, and I think this is going to be a great tool as we're moving forward. Here are the different things you can use in Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to search information about Flipgrid. If you look up the hashtag Flipgrid Fever, you'll see tons of ideas. And here's the link to the Flipgrid live YouTube video from last night. And here's the attendance document that I know that you guys would like to go ahead and fill out. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but I am going to put this into the chat, so that if you want to go ahead and fill it out now, you can. And I'm just going to stay here and answer any questions that you have, because I know I was just doing a lot of talk. So feel free to unmute your mic, put questions in the chat, whatever you need. Otherwise, you are welcome to go. I appreciate you hanging out with me this morning. And I'm just here for questions. Now, if you have a question, unmute or put it in the chat. And everybody's working on that attendance document, which is great, because I want you to get this credit. I think we were pretty consistent with about 21 people the whole time, so that's awesome. If you, ooh, you know what? I need to mention slide 54, which is pretty important. And I'm going to mess you up for those of you that are working on that attendance document. I don't know why I didn't put that before the attendance document, but hold tight. Let me share my screen, because you know what is really important? The assignment. Besides the attendance document, this is your final assignment that is due next week. You are going to create a Flipgrid grid and a topic. So if you do not have an account, you will need to go to Flipgrid and create an account, create a topic, add a resource to the topic, and ask at least 3 people to respond. It doesn't matter if it's your kids, your husband, your friend, you, and you want to reply to them and then send me the link to your topic by submitting it on this form. I'd prefer you go to the form and put the link there, but if you don't know how to do that, you can send me your link on, you can send me your link on my email. But basically with the grid and topic that you're creating, and we kind of went through this, but you have your grid, you create your grid, you add a topic, and when you go through here and add your topic, you may need to go to more options to check all of this other stuff out, and then you create your topic. Once you have that created, then you can share that topic out to people with the share button. If you turn on guest mode, that would allow people to sign in with an email if you wanted them to do that, and allow guests to record. And so this is how you're going to share your topic with me too. You're going to copy this link. And if you go here to this form, then you'll see, you just put your email address, your name, and then paste that Flipgrid topic URL right there. And then that just puts all of them in one place. It makes it easier for me to check off your assignments. So now I'm done. And now if you have any other questions, that is the assignment part. See, April was already ahead of me. She's like, wait, what about our assignment? I don't know why I didn't put that slide before the attendance. But anyway, there it is. It's the last slide in the slideshow. So be sure that you follow through with that. So Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to shut the meeting down in a couple of minutes. So you can hang out here and put something in the chat or unmute if you have a question. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and leave the meeting. Thank you so much. Yes, 3 people have to respond and you respond to them. Yes, Amanda, good question. Yeah. So like I said, your kids, your friends, whoever. Hey, Teresa, I'm so glad you were able to see your screen and get back in the meeting. All right, I'm going to stop.